We are back for another Herizon Insights where I sit down it's about every 2 weeks with experts from within the IAW community, and we have conversations about all sorts of things. Today's conversation, we are talking about Rewired Women, Tech, and the Business of Automation. And I know a lot of people, when they hear technology, automation, AI, there's so much going on in the world in these spaces right now, and it can be really, really overwhelming. I don't want you to think about this with the tone of fear. I want you to think about possibility and power. I want to see how we shift today from acknowledging how technology can enable us to be better. And if you have questions, if you have comments, I'm going to do a lot of interactive prompts because I love getting insights and your tips, your questions. I want to make this powerful and valuable for you. We are down one panelist today, and we only had two panelists to begin with. So it will just be me and Edie leading this conversation, which means even more so, I want to hear from all of you that are watching us live. Use that chat at any point in time. If you have a question to ask, a tip to share, a resource to share, it looks like we still have a few people trying to get in. So we are gonna go ahead and kick off. We are recording, but I want to start with a question. And if you're in our Facebook group, you probably saw this question earlier this week. But in one word, I just want to hear how you feel, how often you use. Like, are they a big part of your life? Not at all. When we talk about AI and automation tools, are you all in leveraging it consistently every day? Are you kind of dabbling? Are you still figuring it out, or have you not touched it at all? Just kind of one or two words that let us know your level of experience and how you feel about these tools. And while we do that, I have Edie Clarke joining me today. And Edie, if you haven't met her, she's an influencer in the IAW community, and her business is amazing. It will help all of you who say, I don't want to be on video, need to connect with Edie, because Edie, that's all she does is coaches people on how to create content, video form content, that will help, that you can leverage online. So Edie, we're gonna talk a lot more about what you do and how you do it. And I'm extremely interested in you being here because I know you've leveraged tools, technology, AI, automation in so many ways to help make that video creation process a little bit easier. Before we dive in, I would love if you could share a quick introduction and how you got into the world you currently are with video.
Hi, everyone. My name is Edie Clarke. I'm based in Brooklyn, New York, and I've been involved in video most of my life. I first started as an intern at a TV station when I was still in high school, and then transformed that into working behind the scenes, predominantly in a post-production company, and then eventually in film and television production, before coming back to New York and then sort of deciding to start my own business. And I didn't really know what aspect of video I really wanted to focus in on. And a coach talked me into helping speakers do their speaker reels. So I was pretty much editing, was sort of how I first got into this. And then YouTube became a lot bigger and more important for a lot of businesses. And then I started to learn about that, and then slowly started to incorporate that service into what I was already offering. As the years went by, anytime there was an opportunity to learn or to present something different to my audience, I was jumping all over it. And so around COVID time, I would think, I had sort of dabbled in AI prior to that, but it wasn't wholeheartedly because there weren't a lot of tools that allowed you to incorporate AI. But around COVID, I got introduced to Descript, and that was the first full-on AI tool that I started to really aggressively play around with. And my MO is that if it's simple, easy, and is going to allow me to create my content faster without me having to be involved in it, and therefore my audience, my clients being involved in the process, then I'm all for it. So I started aggressively looking for tools and platforms that would allow me to creatively create the content that I wanted, but in a simple and easy manner that didn't take you having to go and get a degree in learning
Mhm.
how to use the tool or the platform. And so that's pretty much what I'm still doing today.
I love that. And I'm a big fan of Descript. Descript is a wonderful tool. We will likely drop names of a lot of tools and technology today. So
Mhm.
we will try to do a recap at the end, and I actually can take this is something I can do with Descript. I can take the transcript from this session and I can say provide a list of every tool we mentioned,
Right.
and it will give me that list.
Yeah.
So, we're gonna talk about a lot of use cases. We're gonna talk about some career stuff, but I know changing the dynamic of the panel will shift a little bit of how this conversation goes. Edie is very video centric, and everything she does is video, and we will definitely talk about that. But I want to make sure that we get all of your questions answered and really talk about technology and how we can all incorporate it in better
Mhm.
ways as well. So Edie, when um, I I think you kind of already answered this because my question is, can you share a time when automation maybe unlocked a major breakthrough or some unexpected growth? And it sounds like Descript was kind of that breakthrough moment
Yeah.
for.
The very, very first moment that I discovered that AI actually could do something, it wasn't perfected yet, but it was a platform called Wibbits. And it was back in 2014 or
Mhm,
2015. And
mhm.
it was the first time that I'd ever encountered a tool that could take a link from your blog post and turn it into a video. It wasn't
Uh,
absolutely perfect. It was still kind of wonky.
mhm,
But right after that, then I discovered another tool called Kapwing that was able to do it. But those were sort of isolated. If you had a link to a blog post and you wanted to turn that into a video, you could do it. And again, it wasn't to the degree that you could get a video today,
mhm,
but it was definitely um, the forefront of AI and what the possibilities were.
mhm.
Descript introduced me to the concept of editing, but really simple and easy. It wasn't taking, a link and turning it into something. It was uploading a video and using the words of your transcript to edit that video. And so that was mind blowing in and of itself. So to me, those two platforms were sort of my introduction to AI, but from a different standpoints.
Yeah. Yeah, I would let and also please chime in the chat as I ask these questions. I always love to hear where our audience is in these areas as well, and kind of what was your first exposure to anything automation or AI, and any tools that you absolutely love using. When I think about my history of automation. So I started my career in accounting and finance, and we're going back 25 plus years now.
Mhm.
Um, I started in internal audit where there's a lot of data analysis, a lot of reviewing things manually. And we had this tool where I actually wrote a script that automated our analysis for duplicate invoices that maybe had been paid.
Mm.
And I took what was a very manual, tedious process and was able to spit out a list. Like I took basically thousands of invoices and generated it down to a list of 10 that looked like these could be duplicates. And it was based on all different criteria. So the same with Excel. I'm always like, if there's something that needs to be automated and it's data, give it to me. I'm putting it in Excel and we're going to go go get it figured out.
Right.
So like my brain has always been wired for this, and now that there's all these tools in place, I think it's amazing. When we think about technology and kind of the reshaping of careers and opportunities, I know there's this like, oh, AI is going to take all our jobs, right? AI is not going to take all of our jobs, but you do have to know how to use AI, and you do have to think about that. In what ways do you think technology and automation are are reshaping career paths for women right now. Even those that are not tech, right? Because a lot of people are like, oh, well, that's for tech roles. But what ways do you see automation kind of reshaping career paths?
I think the biggest way is that it's, especially if you are not looking at it as this thing that's going to take your job away, because the truth is, yes, some jobs are going to disappear, but
Mhm,
others that we can't even conceive of are going to be created as a result. And I think
mhm,
that for women, we need to, and I think that we have an innate ability to sort of adjust and sort of reinvent the wheel for ourselves. And
mhm,
so I think it's very easy for us to be able to take a lot of the tools, and there's so many of them for so many
mhm.
different aspects, and create new aspects of our businesses that will put us on a trajectory where we won't be obsolete.
Yep.
I look at AI, putting aside any ethical issues that you may have with regards to I see it as a tool that we can use to enhance what we're doing as
Mhm,
opposed to replace us. And
mhm.
one of the things that I had noticed was that a lot of the AI tools I was coming in contact with had a lot to do with video creation, video marketing, video research, all of the things that I essentially did for my clients. But I never looked at it for some strange reason. I don't know why. I never looked at it as, oh my God, if my clients know about this, they're not going to want to work with me. It never occurred to me. And I'm always, I shouldn't say I was going to say I'm always fascinated by people that look at things from that perspective. But I think if you're looking at this tool, this platform, as it replacing you, then you don't have a lot of confidence in yourself and what
Yep.
you bring to it, because the AI tool is as good as you are using it. And you just
Mhm,
need to really come up with the different ways that you can use it so that you can then enhance it for your clients. Because at the end of the day, your clients don't want to try to learn something, they just want the end result. So if
mhm.
you can use AI to expedite what you're doing, and you have the knowledge and the know-how to sort of take that tool and just add some sequencing or processes to it to make it do what it is that the client wants, that's all they care about. They don't want to do it themselves. And that's the
Yep.
same philosophy that I had when I had my YouTube channel. A lot of people, and I had this initially too. Why am I teaching people how to use a tool or a platform? Because I did tutorial videos when I first
Mhm.
started my business, and I was teaching you how to use Descript. I was teaching you how to use Camtasia and all of these different tools, and be like, well, if I'm teaching them, they're not going to want to hire me. Believe it or not, I got a lot of clients that actually wanted to hire me because of the video that they saw, because they were
Mhm.
like, okay, you know what you're talking about. And
Yep.
so it's sort of the
Yep.
same philosophy. So I think those of us, and I think more women, and I'm not going to, position women against men, but I think that we have a knack and an ability for figuring out how to pivot and how
Mhm,
to maneuver ourselves within new environments. And
mhm.
that's what I'm doing right now. I'm
Yep.
targeting and positioning my business to be more AI video centric than
Yep.
just regular video marketing and YouTube marketing. I'm
Mm.
really focused on teaching my audience how they can take AI tools and implement what they need in order for them to create videos, whether it's through repurposing or editing, or even just trying to figure out what they're going to talk about.
Yep.
Every
Yep.
aspect they can use AI.
Yeah, and when you think about it, I love that your perception there of like you never saw it as taking away my job, and even like that thought process of I'm teaching them how to use these tools so maybe they won't even need me, but also you're showcasing yourself as the best thought leader,
Right.
and if they take your course and they're still stuck, they're calling
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Um, but also I think that we have to shift that mindset of like have the self-belief, you have the skills. How can you take technology, whether it's AI or automation or software, and enhance or amplify what you're already doing so that you
Exactly.
continue? Because at the end of the day, Edie, you still solve the problem
Mhm.
of people struggling with video,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
myself included. I've signed up for one of these upcoming workshops. So, but I think that when we think out through that lens of how can I still solve this problem
Mhm.
with the tools and the technology, even automating back end parts of our businesses,
Mhm.
right? If there's things that slow you down, there's so many things that can be automated these days.
Right.
Um, what do you think are some of the biggest misconceptions about automation?
That it's complicated and that one of the biggest ones is that you need to understand code. And I think people are slowly recognizing that that's not the case because I don't know the first thing about coding. And it's all gibberish to me when I do see it.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm,
but it's really just a matter of figuring out what is the problem that you want to get solved. And then how do you ask to get guidance on how to solve that. And it's really,
mhm,
somebody used to say garbage in, garbage out when it comes to your prompting. And so
mhm.
it's really about, and there are a bajillion different people that will give you extremely detailed prompts, and then some that give you, sort of straight laced, very simple prompts. You have to do it based on what you're comfortable with and ask
Mhm,
it the questions that you need to ask it. And just think
mhm.
of AI as an assistant that you're having a conversation with, as opposed to this computer that you're just trying to search and find out information. Because
Yep,
if anybody has ever had a conversation, I say that in quotes, with ChatGPT, you know that it keeps asking you, well, do you want us to do this? Do you want,
mhm,
and if you keep going on and on and on, you get very detailed information out. And it
yep,
really is the same regardless of what platform it is that you're using. And I like playing around with all of them. I use ChatGPT for certain things. I use Claude for certain things. I use Perplexity. One of my go-tos is Notebook LM, and that's mainly because it's an enclosed LLM. So I'm
mhm,
able to have it look at my own content and
yep,
ask it questions about that so that I can write scripts, or I can write blog posts, or I can write social medias, or I can write emails based on my own words. Because I'll upload voice notes, I'll upload audio journals, presentations, everything, just so that I have everything that I've ever written or said in this so that it really does speak the way that I speak. And so I think that
What
it's
was
real.
the name of what was the name of that one?
Oh, Notebook LM. It's by Google, and
Notebook
you get it
LM.
automatically if you have a Gmail account, you have it.
So, and this is what's so fascinating is I've never heard of this, and I'm a Google user,
Oh,
but, like
yeah.
but you just triggered something, and this is when I think about using automation and AI, a lot of times I approach it from the mindset of where am I spending a lot of time and getting frustrated? What things are really hard for me to do? Where do I feel overwhelmed? And so I think I've shared this with you, Edie. We have so much video content
Mhm.
across IAW platforms for years.
Yeah,
And I would love a system to be able to take that content and do things with it
right.
beyond just me having to go be like, "Oh, I had that conversation. I wanna go pull a snippet using Descript." And so it seems like there's a new tool for me to explore. But I also wanna share another use case for anyone sitting here going, "Well, I just don't know how would I automate something in my business? What could I automate?" So I have a fun use case. I was working with somebody on not the IAW team. This was a different team.
Mhm.
And she was responsible for generating reports after an event. And every event would have vendors at the event. The vendors were employers. And every employer wanted their data at the end of the event, like they were doing a career fair. So, how
Mhm.
many job seekers, what were their job titles, who came to talk to us, how many chats did we have? And so the platform spit all of this data into one massive Excel file. And somebody was taking that Excel file and manually filtering by employer,
Mhm.
copying, creating. And so I said to her one day, I said, can I have that file? I want to play with it. And I went to ChatGPT and I said, I have this file. I stripped out contact information. So I was not sharing any contact information. I
Mhm.
was just sharing the data pieces of it. I said, I have this file. Can you walk me through how to best summarize this and give me a script I can run in Google Sheets? It created the script, showed me how to put the script in my Google Sheet, created new formatting that we didn't even have before that made the reporting look better. And now when it runs, this used to be a full day plus work depending on
Mhm.
how
Yeah.
big it was. It now runs in under 10 minutes,
Mhm.
just like that. And it probably took me an hour with ChatGPT to get everything working. And so I challenge anyone listening today, think about in your day to day, where do you have a system or a process or something where you get stuck spending a lot of time or stuck because your skills aren't there or stuck because it's frustrating
Or
and
that you don't even know, you're
or
clueless.
that you don't, yes. And go to ChatGPT or any one of these
Mhm.
tools and start the conversation. If you haven't started
Mhm.
talking to your tool yet, start today. And you don't even have to start with something work related. I often share, um, I sometimes have ChatGPT rewrite my emails to my ex-husband when we're
Mhm.
having
Mhm.
conversations about things that get a little heated and escalated with
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
kids. And it helps take down the emotion and make it more direct and to the
Mhm.
point.
Yeah.
And and so start trying these things, but also you can have a chat with chat about what chat can do. And that's what I find fascinating is like you could have chat kind of look at your entire system and flow and recommend the things that
Right.
chat would be able to help you do. And that like it blows my mind that we can use the tool to use the tool.
Do
I
you
think
use
that's
the
really cool.
voice activated,
I
part
do.
of chat? Yeah,
I
love it.
do.
I do it on my
Mhm.
phone more than I do it on my computer, but
Yep.
it's, you're just having a conversation. "Yes, I'd like help on blah, blah, blah," and then you
Mhm.
just have a conversation back and forth. So it really
Mhm.
does, help you. But another way that you can sort of figure out what it is that you want to do, especially if you have content already. And this was something I think I did a video last week, late last week or beginning of this week. I don't know. I'm losing track of the days. One thing that was always, I don't even know. Sometimes I have so much content, sort of like you, where I'm like, I overthink things and I'm like,
Mhm.
well, that's okay, but I wish it was a little, whatever. And so
Mhm.
that's just the perfectionist in me. Even though I'm telling people, don't even think about it, just post it. I don't take my own medicine. So I had put myself on a 90-day video challenge. And I had committed starting in the beginning of September. I was going to post either a short, a pre recorded video, a live stream video, some kind of video content every day for the next 90 days. And so one of the videos that I did was in reference to what do I need to do in order to make sure that I'm actually living up to this? Because if you're doing pre recorded videos, you're going to burn out real quick, real quick.
Mhm.
So one of
Mhm.
the things that I knew I needed to do was to go back into my library of presentations, of pre-recorded videos that I had just never really done anything with. And I have Opus Clip, which everybody should have some kind of repurposing tool. If you don't have Opus Clip, you should have video.ai, repurpose.io, whichever one it is that you're using. And so I went into it, and the genius talking about automation is that a lot of these tools will automatically A, break down your long form. And some of mine are an hour, some are maybe 15 minutes. And then it will break it down based on what they can categorize as a virality score. So, how likely is it to go viral? Now, viral doesn't mean it's going to get a million views. It's just that it's optimized in a way that it's going to get views. And then they
Yep.
rank it on a scale of 0 to 100. And so I'll usually pick at least 80 and above score. And
Mhm.
then the other thing that I used to do was I used to download it and then try to upload it to wherever. And I was like, I'm not doing that this go round. I'm going to have
Mhm.
Opus Clip automatically schedule these for me. And so I
Mm.
started doing that. and not overthinking things and just trusting the process, which
Yep.
is really hard for a lot of us to do. And I'm number one on that list. And in the month of September, I got more views for my channel than I have in God only knows how long, because I was not
Mhm.
being consistent on my channel either up until, and
Yep.
that's partly why I did the challenge, was because I
Yep.
wanted to be consistent. And so it really pays off to repurpose your content, because you truly
Mhm.
don't know who it's going to be able to reach and what that person is going to think by seeing your content. And more often than not, it's going to get the views that you've been wanting to get, and it's going to get the engagement. So I highly recommend doing that.
Yeah. No, and what I love about that as well, because you're automating the pushing of it, right? You're
Mhm.
using the tool to automate more. How many of us don't post the video or don't
Right.
post the picture or the thing because we overthink it and we get stuck in the analysis paralysis? And so think of automation and AI and these tools as your friend that just helps keep you accountable and helps keep
Yeah.
you in it's the same, the example I shared with the data analysis. The person I was supporting, she hated doing it.
Yeah.
And therefore, it kept getting pushed to the bottom of the list. So we made it easier. We took out the piece that was really hard and we made it so easy that it didn't overwhelm anymore.
Mhm.
And so when we think about where do I start with automation or technology or tools? Start with what's hard or start with what you don't know, because there is a lot of opportunity there.
Yeah.
Um, Edie, we've talked a little bit about this. There's obviously so many things that can be automated.
Mhm.
How do you decide what tasks or workflows to prioritize when we start looking at automation?
I don't even know if I look at anything that needs to be prioritized. I look at everything. Whatever I'm doing, if I think that it's too time consuming and there is probably a faster, easier way of getting it done, then I'm trying to figure that out. And I try to use it in as many aspects of my business as I can. So, for example, all of my consultations, any kind of Zoom call that I have, I automatically record those through Fathom. Now, you don't need to use a note taker like Fathom. I think some people use Otter. Others might
Mhm.
use different other tools, because I know Zoom does have a summary, and I think you can have it break it down into different types of summaries. But I use Fathom because it is the fastest way for me to then ask it, did we talk about fill in the blank? As opposed to me
Mhm.
scanning through the
Mhm.
transcript, or then taking the transcript and putting it into ChatGPT and asking ChatGPT to do that. Now, there are
Mhm.
other platforms that are also adding this in. I have not tested out Loom. I've been a Loom user since day one, and I have not tried their meeting feature. I probably
Mhm.
will test that out just to see if it's
Yep.
worthwhile, but that's something that I'm always using. And I also use it just to sort of give me a summary on what was the conversation, what were the next steps that we said that we were going to talk about, where's the next thing that I need to do in order to move the needle on that
Mhm.
conversation. Another area
Mhm.
is when I do my presentations. That is content that for years just used to sit on my computer. Didn't really do a whole lot with it. I now use Cast Magic, and I will upload. I do this for my videos as well as I do this for podcasts and any presentations. And from
Mhm.
that, I'm able to create a blog post if that's what I wanted, or create social media posts, or I can even ask it to create another version of some sort of a workshop or a presentation that's based on that, or on a slew of other, like I could select a number of other presentations, group them together and say, create one amazing presentation
Mhm.
that targets this audience and blah, blah, blah. And it can spit that out for me as well. So I try to use as many tools as I have to come up with a number of different ways that I can create content, whether that's a social media post or a video script. That's another thing that I'll do is I'll ask either Cast Magic, or I might go into Notebook and say, I want to, on this particular topic, create a 60-second video. And
Mhm.
I wanted to address this pain point. And it will come up with the visuals as well as with what I would say in the video. And then I can copy and paste that into some other platform if I wanted to just go ahead and start creating the video. So there
Mhm.
are so many options that are out there for all different types of things that you need to do. Loom is one that I like for any sort of asynchronous communication. More often than
Yep.
not, when my clients email me, I'll reply with a Loom video. If I have to walk them through step by step, not only can I send them the video, but then I can print out an SOP that has even the images from screenshots and print that
Mhm.
out as a PDF, and they have it in both forms. So there are so many tools now that can answer and solve a lot of problems. But if you can't find an actual tool that you have in your hand, go to ChatGPT, because there are a lot of different ways that you can utilize either chat by itself, or maybe you might need the paid version, or because they have all those connected apps that you can now connect
Yep.
to
Yep.
that. So there's definitely ways that you can, whatever you can think of, there is a solution. That
Yeah. So you mentioned something, and this was something I was starting to think about as you were talking. With all of these tools, there's often a free version or a free trial, and then you need to upgrade and pay to get the full benefit.
right.
How do we determine what tools to invest in and when? Because it can get very like, if it's $10 a month here, $10 a month there, like, it can
It can add
start
up.
to add up
Yeah,
quickly, and if we're not using the tools, then we're wasting the investment, right? I'm all for investing in technology and tools that are gonna help simplify and make our
right.
lives easier, but I also know that it can start to get pricey.
Oh yeah.
Um, how do you balance that?
I always like to start with the free version. And if I'm using it with such regularity that I'm either running out of the credits that they may give you every month on the free version, or with ChatGPT, if there was something where I needed to connect to an app, because ChatGPT is far better today than it was when it first came out, and gives you a lot of capabilities, and it doesn't cut you off like Claude and Perplexity do after a certain number of responses. Oops, you got to wait until tomorrow. So I think, but there are other tools. I'm experimenting right now with one called Chat LLM, which sort of
Mhm,
has all of the tools in it, and it's for a flat
mhm,
$10 a month. So
mhm,
that's something that and you just have to keep your eyes out, keep your eyes
mhm,
peeled for um,
mhm.
things like that. But I just try, and then I'll see, do I really need this? Do I need to spend this amount of money on this particular tool? Is there another tool that I can utilize? And there are some tools that I'm paying for that I don't know if I'm going to permanently continue to pay for them. For now, it's worth it. And I've been
Yeah.
able to keep my budget, if you will, on the AI tools to a minimum. But I
Yep.
always try the free trials first. And based on the frequency and the importance in me needing to use it, I will then decide whether or not that's a platform that I want to
Mhm,
spend money on. But I have to say, a
mhm.
lot of the tools are priced affordably, and you can sort of go in and out. Like maybe there's
Yep.
a period I've been testing with HeyGen, which for the longest time when avatars first came out, I was like, oh God, no, I'm not going to do that. And it's mainly because in the very beginning, it was very like robotic looking, and it just was unnerving. Then do I want to use myself as an avatar? And as time has gone by, I've been like a little bit more open to doing that. There are some tools that I'm probably still a little apprehensive about, but I opted to test out HeyGen and I actually liked it. So there's
Yep.
probably a likelihood that I'm going to invest in that, but I'm only going to do it if I think I'm going to be creating enough content that's going to be worth the while. And for a tool like
Right.
that, for me, it would have to be very specific circumstances that I'm using it. I would never use
Mhm.
it as a regular YouTube video. I would do it, and that's how I've done it in the past, is for like onboarding, maybe a short that I'm using on YouTube Shorts or something like that. But you're going to know
Yep.
that it's the AI me. I'm not going to try to
Yeah.
pass that on as me.
Yeah, and I think that's really important. We'll talk about the human element in just a
Mhm.
minute because as we weave more and more tools and more AI and technology, I'm in a marketing Facebook group and there was a conversation recently about what are the signs that your social media post was written by AI, right? There's usually some pretty big signs like a lot of emojis, the long dash, like
Right.
and and so I think that that human piece of it is really important where we look at these tools to complement what we're doing and make us perform more efficiently, but not completely replicate. Because and it can be really easy to say, "Oh, just go write all my social, go write all my emails."
Right.
But also, you have to be really mindful that your end user is gonna pick up on that,
Right.
and they do still want human.
Right.
Um, from that and I love what you said about, like, the AI generated videos versus the human videos, right? And your audience will know.
Mhm.
Why is that so important for you?
Because I'm a firm believer in being as authentic as possible to my audience. And you can be authentic in faceless videos. And I classify an avatar as a faceless video. Um, it's really at the end of the day about what is it that you're conveying? What's the message that you're conveying in the video? And even if you're not physically in it, there are ways, and that's why I'm also a firm believer in using my voice in my
Mhm,
faceless videos. I don't use an AI voice. Um, and so because I'm so obsessed with being authentic and people understanding the message that I want to convey, I would never pass an AI avatar version of me as me because
mhm,
right now you still can tell. You can still tell that it's not, there's, if you really look closely at my earring, you can see it looks a little weird, or my hand, if I do this, it looks a little, so you can still, and I'm sure it's going to get to a point where you're not going to be able to tell the difference. I don't know what
mhm.
I'll say then, but for right now, you can tell. So for
So
me,
scary
I
though.
think it's, yeah,
It's
for me, I think
terrifying
it's
that
important. It's just
yeah,
important that you be honest and you be
mhm,
authentic and you share
mhm.
yourself.
Yeah. I wanna hear from anybody watching live, what tools are you loving? What tools have you tried? Where do you get stuck? Let us know in that chat box because I always love knowing what's working for you or not working for you as well. Um, I also sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit because there's so many things to talk about, but
Mhm.
one of the things that you talked about when we talked about automation and one of the misconceptions is that you have to be techie, right? You have to know how to code to go
Right.
automate. And if you have that mentality, I wanna challenge you to go look at a tool like Zapier or if
Mhm.
this then that, they literally walk you through
Right.
and it allows you to connect multiple things
Mhm.
together. So like Zapier, you could connect your CRM to a Google Sheet and
Right.
have Google Sheet to analyze the
Yeah.
data. Like that's a very simple simple one. I use it like if we run Facebook ads, it
Mhm.
takes our Facebook ads and puts them in our CRM. Like,
Right.
so there's things so that you're not downloading and exporting and importing and cleaning. And you don't have to be you don't I know how to code. I took coding classes in college.
Mhm.
I don't I don't code actively and I never want to,
Right.
but I have the awareness of it, but you don't need any level of awareness to go figure out the automation tools. And so really think about what, and also if you're kind of sitting here going, I'm still overwhelmed, I don't know where to start, let us know in the chat, because we might be able to give you some tips and resources to push you in the right direction. If you're feeling overwhelmed in any certain part of your business, or you're like, I know I should be able to automate this, I just don't know how, we do have time to talk about that today. So pop it in the chat.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that you can also, and it depends on the tools that you're using and what you want to do specifically, but there is the buzzword that's been going around a lot lately called vibe coding. And that's basically where you're just telling the tool what it is that you want. And then
Mhm,
tool does all the coding in the back end for you. So you can
mhm,
use Canva for that. If you have the paid version of Canva, you can use Canva AI to literally
mhm.
pretty much create whatever you can think of. I've created a quiz on there. I've done a number of different things on there, and you can
Yep.
do the same thing on Chat or Gemini or any of the other ones. You just tell it what
Mhm,
you want it to do, and it will create the coding for you or create whatever the product is. So you don't,
mhm,
vibe coding and vibe marketing and vibe all of these different things is sort of what the new vocabulary is these days when it comes to
mhm,
AI, because you don't
mhm.
need to know all of the technical aspects. All you need to
Yeah.
know is what's the end result that you're looking to achieve, and verbalize that to that platform, and it will
Yep.
answer or provide you with the information that you need.
I have such a great use case that I recently, so I in the past have built websites. I don't do much of website build anymore,
Mhm.
but I was working on our landing page for registrations for the summit we're hosting next Saturday. And I was like, I really want something where like the sessions show up and you can click them and it'll pop up and show the speakers and link to their bios. But I don't have the capability to build that right now. So I went to ChatGPT and I
Mhm.
said, here's what I have, here's what I need. It gave me the HTML.
Yeah,
It wrote it.
yeah,
I had to tweak a few different color things and links, but it gave me the HTML. It took me maybe 2 hours when
right,
previously that would have been a multi-day project.
right.
And so anyone who has a website and you're like, I wanna update this, but I don't know how, or it's really hard, or I'm paying a developer. Some of that can be simplified, and you can rely on these tools to help say, this is how to do it.
Yes,
Either writing the code or walking you through step by step.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, it's brilliant.
mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
I mean, I even have had people that maybe they weren't looking for an actual website, but they were looking for landing pages. And
Mhm,
I love using Gamma for
mhm,
that. And not only
mhm,
for landing pages, if you wanted to use it to do your presentations, you could do that. Or if you wanted
mhm,
to create carousel posts, you
mhm,
can do that as well,
mhm,
and you don't have to come to the tool with a laundry list of things that you want it to do. You could literally have a one sentence prompt and just give it a topic and say, I want to create fill in the blank, and it can do it for you. Or if you know that you have your website and you want it to do something based on content that's on your website, you can upload the URL and it can create
mhm,
whatever you need. All of my landing pages of late have been created custom in Gamma
mhm.
because I didn't like I was using ConvertKit. Sorry, ConvertKit, but I didn't like the way that their landing pages looked. So I was like,
Yep.
I'm just going to create mine in Gamma. And when it comes to presentations, I don't mind Gamma, but my go-to tool is beautiful.ai, which I just
Mhm,
love because it was created specifically by professionals that used to create PowerPoint presentations for a career. That was their business. And so they've come
mhm,
up with a platform that prevents you from making a slide look horrible. That's why it's called beautiful.ai, because all of your slides will always look beautiful because they're sized where you can't put too much text, you can't put too many images. There's just like certain things that you can't do, but it also
Mhm.
has AI influenced in it because you could, again, prompt it to create a slide presentation for you from just putting in a prompt. You could go to ChatGPT, ask it to create a prompt, take that prompt, put it into beautiful.ai, and you have a presentation. You can do the same thing
Mhm.
for Gamma, and I'm sure that there are other apps that are out there. So nothing that we have to do on a regular basis, because presentations took me forever. I would be
Mhm.
working weeks and weeks and weeks. Now
Mhm.
I literally, it takes me like an hour to
Mhm.
just like,
I think back to my days of working in finance where we had to do these massive decks to report
mhm,
on end and quarter end, and first getting all the data right, but then getting the everything laid out
mhm.
correctly on the slide with all sorts of graphs and
Yeah,
it
it was hard. Yeah,
hours,
yeah,
hours.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
we've mentioned you've dropped a lot of tools, and we have some that people have dropped in the chat as well.
Mhm.
How do you stay on top of all of the emerging technology without getting lost in the hype of, like, what's new and big and most exciting? But, like, how do you filter out what is gonna be I know based on what you need at that time, but
Mhm.
it is I feel like every day there's a new tool or a new
Yeah.
platform or something. So how do you stay on top of all of it?
I have a bajillion different, I guess they're newsletters? Yeah, newsletters, that's the word, from a lot of different groups that are AI
Mhm,
centric. So I'll learn
mhm,
about whatever the tool is, get an understanding of what it does, and if it's something that I know I can use or that my audience can use, then I will actually investigate it. And so I like to play around. Like I was sharing with you, I'm playing around with Chat LLM right now, and I'm also testing out Kling AI, which has been around for a minute. It's very
mhm.
similar to some other tools, but what I like to figure out with these tools are, is it easier? Is it simpler? Is it, in the same price point? Is it more expensive, less expensive? Do they have a better free version? All of those things I look at. And I
Mhm.
look mainly at the ease of use and am I going to get the same results that I've gotten from some other methodology that I've been using? And so
Right.
I don't necessarily, I'll learn of a bunch of different tools, but I don't necessarily use them all. And then there are other instances. It just reminded me, I had 2 emails this morning because other brands will reach out to me as well. Like Kling AI reached out to me. There's another company that the name escapes me at the moment, but that company reached out, and I'll just go and look at their website, look at what it is
Mhm.
that they do. If it's something that I'm familiar with, where there are other tools that do it, I then kind of get an understanding. Is this better than this other tool? Is it more expensive? Is it worse? And then I go from there. But I don't pursue the second one that I got today. I actually responded and said, I don't think I'd be interested because it was more expensive. Actually, it was confusing. Their pricing was confusing. And I didn't see
Mm,
what they did as unique and different than what somebody else was doing. So I was like, okay, I
mhm.
don't need to try
Yeah.
to investigate that one. But yeah, I'm usually
Yeah.
fairly on top of things through either them emailing me or I get it through the multiple newsletters that I'm on.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, and I think that's a great tip for anyone listening to walk away with. If you're feeling overwhelmed with all of it, take a step back and start with one, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to go do all the things all at once. Find one starting point, get comfortable with that, and then start to layer on because it can overwhelm you very
Oh, yeah.
quickly.
It is. It's very easy to overwhelm. And that's why when I decided to do my workshop, because in my presentations, I will, just like I did today, there's a laundry list of tools. And people be like, okay, which one should I use? And so for the workshops, I really wanted to have everybody be focused on the act of creating as opposed to which tool should I use? So I would pick
Mhm,
tools that were either free or had a decent free trial on it, or they were, if they did transition into paid, they had a reasonable. starting
Mhm.
price point. And a lot of these tools you can start and stop based on what your
Mhm.
affordability
Yep.
is. And that
Yep.
way you can focus on the act of getting it done. And then if you want to jump, like the workshop I have coming up this month is for animated videos. The tool I'm using is not the only game in town. But
Mhm.
once you get an understanding of it, you can then choose to use whatever tool it is that you want to use based on what it is that you want to do. So
Mhm.
that I think is more important, that you figure out, do I want to do these types of videos? Okay, then let me check this out. And then I can then look at other tools that maybe do the similar type of animation or whatever it may be, because not all tools are created equal.
Yep.
And I've used some tools that I don't use anymore because it was overly complicated, or I needed to tweak things in order for
Mhm.
the end result to get to look like what I wanted it to look like. And so if that was
Yep.
the case, then I was like, no, that's not worth it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So when we think about women in tech and kind of the landscape of the future, what skills do you think are most important or most essential for women so that they stay relevant in this increasingly automated
Right.
technology heavy workplace?
I don't even know if it's a skill necessarily. If you want to call this a skill, maybe it's a soft skill. It's just the willingness to learn, the
Mhm.
eagerness to be interested in doing something that's unfamiliar with you. I think that from my experience in video, a lot of people tend to go, oh, I don't want to do that. I'm not good at editing. I suck at this. And if you throw your hands up, that's where you're going to get left behind. So if
Mhm.
you have this innate ability of loving to learn things, even if you ultimately plan to outsource it to somebody else, just that desire of wanting to learn and understand and play around with something, because you really know, you'll not know what your sweet spot is unless you actually go out there and try it for yourself. And so, I mean,
Mhm.
the people that I typically work with are people that ultimately want to do it themselves. But I know that not everyone is going to want to do that. So if you are someone that wants to do it for others, then by all means, you need to be somebody that's eager to learn, that you're interested in any of the new technologies and things that are coming out, because it's only going to benefit you in the end. So just
Mhm.
the eagerness to learn is all it
Yeah,
really
I so funny you said that, like, that would be my almost exact same answer. Somebody asked me that on a panel, I mean, years ago before AI was big, and it was a panel geared towards a younger audience, and I said that, like, from my perspective, one of the key skills is being able to Google it and figure it out,
Mhm.
and to go dive in and learn,
Yeah.
right? Because everything is available there, and if you can go figure it out, you're gonna be the person who has all the answers.
Yeah,
And
absolutely,
so
absolutely.
that ability to not say, "This is scary, it's overwhelming, it's too much," like, start small, figure it out,
Yeah.
and that will help massively. Um, we have a little over 5 minutes left, so I'm gonna start kinda walking towards wrap up. Now is a great time. If there's any questions or anything you wanna share in the chat, please go right ahead. Tracy, I love the comment that you have here. She says, "When computers first arrived, people feared they'd take over jobs, but instead they transformed the way we work and created new opportunities. AI is no different. If we learn to use it wisely, it can amplify our skills, streamline tasks, open doors we never imagined.
Mhm.
So don't fear this as the future. It's time to reimagine it, right? And
Yeah.
it's time to really think about how can we leverage technology in ways to improve our lives, to improve our outcomes, to improve our work.
Mhm.
Um, for someone who's sitting here today going, okay, this sounds great, but it's over my head. I'm feeling hesitant to embrace. What advice would you offer that person?
Um, I'd be stunned actually if anybody was feeling that way, because I feel that with particularly ChatGPT, and because it's been around for so long, that more and more people are getting accustomed to it. But at the end of the day, I think the thing you have to ask yourself, if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, do you plan on being in business a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And if the answer is yes, then you absolutely need to start working your way towards embracing AI and incorporating it into your business. Because if you do not, and I don't remember where the heck I saw this, I think it's Neil Patel predicts that
Mhm.
in a year, 12 months from now, if you are not already incorporating AI, you will not be able to.
Mhm.
It will be so far ahead that for you to try to catch up, it will be too late. And
So
so,
start today.
yeah,
Today's the
you
day.
need to start today. So if your intention is to be in business for, the foreseeable future, then you need to embrace it and just take one tool at a time. And if
Mhm.
ChatGPT is it, start with
Mhm.
that. And then eventually,
Mhm.
everybody uses all of these different tools for different reasons. Like a lot of people use Perplexity for research. It is one of the best research tools. I like to use ChatGPT for copy, but not exclusively for copy.
Mhm.
I tend to go either Cast Magic or Notebook LM for copy. But you
Mhm.
can use whatever tool. You're going to figure out which one makes best sense for you in terms
Mhm.
of what it is that you want to do. And like you had shared earlier, um, don't assume that you're going to use this tool and then copy and immediately paste it wherever you're going to put it. Tweak what you need to say so that it sounds more like you. And even for
Mhm.
the notebook LMs, I don't take everything and just copy and paste it, even though it's using my words. I always read through it. And I was like, okay, would I say that? Oh, no, I would say it this way. And so you still
Mhm.
need to tweak things so that it sounds a little bit more authentic, but it still saves you a tremendous amount of time. Because I was one of those people where I stood in front of a blank page and I'd just be like this. I didn't know what to
Mhm.
say.
Mhm.
If you asked me questions, if I had a conversation, I would just be able to say but if you put me in front of a blank piece of paper or a blank screen, I didn't know where to start, how to start. I didn't know. And so that's how
Mhm.
AI has helped me. And I think that if you can figure out the best ways for AI to help you, I think it can take your business in a big, huge direction. And
Yeah.
more women are turning towards AI as a career, because the one
Mhm.
thing that is missing still right now is AI consultants. And so
Mhm.
that's why my business is shifting more for AI video consultancy and AI video strategy.
Mhm. I love it. Edie, thank you so much. You've shared so much and really helped carry this conversation being down a panelist. So I appreciate everything you've shown up and shared
Oh,
here
thank
today.
you.
Um, for anyone that was like, wait, this video stuff, I want to start there, go connect with Edie, go follow her on LinkedIn. You can connect with her in the Inner Circle community. Um, I've signed up for one of her upcoming workshops because I want to get better about using video and come up with a strategy for using video within the IAW platforms. So I can tell you there's a lot of great things, and she has an amazing YouTube channel.
Thank you.
So go check it out, go connect if there's anything she can help support you with. We will make sure all that information is available for you. Thank you to everyone that chimed in live here. I know we had a lot of interest on this topic, so I have a feeling there'll be some replay viewers as well. Um, if we can support you in any way, please reach out to member services at iawomen.com. We always love hearing your challenges and the things you're working on so that we can figure out a path to help get you moving in the right direction. So enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week. Edie, thank you again for being here
You're welcome.
today. And we will see you all back here again in 2 weeks. Thanks, everyone.